a hard hit ball. Back it goes toward the fence. Gone! The Harwich Mariners walk it off. Live from White House Field in Harwich, Massachusetts, the Harwich Mariners look to keep it rolling in the ball. Well, it took a while to get here, but the power's back on, the burgers are on the grill, and the fans have filed in. We're ready to play baseball here on this lovely Tuesday evening. Pitched a good one, and that is going back. That's a hard hit ball. Back it goes toward the fence. Gone! The Harwich Mariners walk it off.
Welcome into White House Field, Devin Dovek alongside Wyatt Kopelman here in Al Graber Press Box as we are just about set as the Harwich Mariners are set to host the Wareham Gatemen for the final time this season. Wyatt, the Mariners coming off a game in which they were one hit. They actually were being no hit through 8 1/3 until Devin Obie broke it up for the one and only hit that Harwich had during the 12-0 shutout loss.
It's clear that the Mariners just did not get the help they needed out of their lineup. Of course, you give up 12 runs as a staff, and that ERA is starting to spike right now, but you have to just find a way to get back in the win column. You need to get at least a 3-inning start out of your starter today. Tom Shimoleski got the loss last night and then didn't really get any help from the bullpen behind him in the lineup. Remained its quietest all season. We'll see how it can respond against a very struggling Wareham team today.
Yeah, very struggling. They are indeed coming in with a 4-game losing streak. They lost to Cotuit 18-0 last night out at Lowell Park. It's the first time in the StatCast era that two teams have been shut out by double-digit margins. So, yeah, definitely kind of a little bit of a toilet bowl here, per se, but these two teams, too desperately in need of a win. And Harwich with some reinforcements coming back from Team USA.
Yeah, Seaver King and Kalen Culpepper will hope contact right now. Casey Sauke, even considering Ethan Anderson aside from his recent struggles, but you know that you're going to need a balance of power and contact through your lineup in order to compete at the top of the division, something the Harwich Mariners have lacked, particularly when just trying to drive in runs early.
Yeah, this will be the third of 4 matchups between the two. The first coming back on June 13th, which was a good start from Josh Bostic until, unfortunately, it blew up with a few walks. The Mariners went on to lose that one 12-1 at Spillane Field, and then back here on June 29th at White House, a 7-3 victory for the Mariners. What do they need to do to replicate that against a struggling Wareham club?
I mean, you have to take a page out of what you learned from last night. A team like Orleans that really began to take off with its hitting last night, and certainly just need to be able to replicate that tonight. The Mariners got hit around last night. They can't even do that here today in order to win this game.
Take a break for the national anthem. Be right back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We welcome you back to White House Field. Devin Dobeck alongside Wyatt Kopelman as we're just about set for first pitch here between the Gatemen and the Mariners. Wyatt, Harwich, a team who desperately needed to get Culpepper and King back. Do you think that they'll be able to spark this Harwich offense, a team that's really been struggling in the month of July?
Well, whether they can or they can't, you have to be looking towards your starting pitcher on the mound. You have Reed Easterly out there who with those 2 scoreless innings certainly need a deep start out of him, but for them, they're of course going to feel a lot of pressure. They want to be able to deliver. At the same time, Harwich can't be looking at pitches, victims of strikeouts as of late. Harwich needs to be able to move runners, and it starts with them in a sense, in addition to getting Devin Obie going in the lineup.
Let's meet the Wareham Gatemen starting 9 tonight as they're set for their third matchup of 4 with the Mariners and last here at White House Field. Leading off in right field will be Nick McLean, batting second, the second baseman Garen Caulfield, batting third, the catcher Tommy Splane, batting cleanup, the first baseman Grant Hussey, batting fifth, the center fielder Bobby Bozer, batting sixth, the shortstop Sebastian Murillo, batting seventh, the designated hitter Renee Lastix, batting eighth, the left fielder Grant Sherrod, batting ninth, the third baseman J.C. Cologne. As you alluded to, Wyatt, Reed Easterly out of Yale towing the rubber for the Mariners, making his second appearance in first start of the season. The lefty, 6'0", 200-pound junior, native of Katy, Texas, attended Cinco Ranch High School and now a Yale Bulldog. In his first outing with the Mariners, was pretty good. 2 innings pitched, 3 strikeouts, no walks, no hits. In that one relief outing, actually was credited with the win as well, a record of 1-0 in this past season at Yale. Had a 6-3 record with a 2.93 earned run average in his 13 games, made 10 starts for Yale. A save to add to that resume, and then 73 2/3 innings pitched, 56 strikeouts, 29 walks, and 60 hits. Big outing for Reed going up against a struggling Wareham Gatemen lineup.
Yeah, this is going to be crucial for him to get off to a good start, certainly not fall behind in counts. It's something the Mariners have kind of lacked as of late. You notice that Tom Shimoleski last night was really getting into counts early, but then he was starting to fall behind them early as well. So for Easterly, the southpaw is certainly looking to dominate with that fastball, the slider, and even a changeup as well. It certainly did him well in those scoreless 2 innings as the Mariners held on against Chatham just back on Sunday. It was their last win as well. Easterly be looking to translate some similar results from that.
Should be a good one here. As mentioned, these teams have combined for 7 straight losses, 3 from Harwich and 4 from the Gatemen. I mean, a Gatemen team who was in second place, similar to where Harwich is now, and then have just went into an all-out free fall down to the bottom of the West standings. They sit in 5th, 3 games behind the Falmouth Commodores, who hold the last playoff spot out in the West. Set to get going here as Nick McLean digs in. And we are underway with a strike here. 6:32 p.m. And it's 0-1 the count to McLean. Easterly pitching out of the stretch, and the pitch just misses outside. 1-1. Mariners wearing their red shirt Friday uniforms, says Cape Cod across the chest in camouflage print. They're wearing their home cream pants with navy socks, as well as the camouflage hats that say Cape Cod Baseball League. This one's going to be chopped softly back to Easterly. Plenty of time to get it on to first base. And just like that, a 1-3 putout to get things started here in Harwich. Let's meet the Harwich Mariner defense. They are 8th in the Cape Cod Baseball League with 35 errors and a .965 fielding percentage. In the outfield, out and left is Lorenzo Carrier. Devin Obie's in center with Casey Sauke in right. In the infield from third to first, Seaver King is your third baseman. Kalen Culpepper at short with Daniel Rivera at second. Mason Guerra is the first baseman, and Andrew Yu completing the battery for Reed Easterly. 0-1 the count now to Garen Caulfield, the second baseman for the Gatemen. And he cracks that one out into right field. Casey Sauke drifting over to his left, puts it away with ease. And just like that, 2 up, 2 down to start Reed Easterly right back where he left off.
Wareham with the second most walks in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Harwich certainly not wanting to fall behind in that, and Harwich rather with the second most walks allowed Wareham the most walks drawn this season. So that'll be one concern here for Easterly. If he gets too many walks on, that's just a team that you're not going to want to give free walks to, especially with Harwich having that concern. You can't be giving away free bases in order to fall behind early.
Now be Tommy Splain's turn, the catcher for the Gatemen. First pitch from Easterly is going to be in there for a strike. 0-1. Gatemen wearing their road navy uniforms, has that Wareham W in the top left corner of the jersey, as well as the number. Numbers on the front and back in maroon, or red, however you want to look at it. All trimmed in white with gray pants. And they'll be wearing their navy caps with red brims. It's a ball and a strike now to Tommy Splain, the catcher. Easterly sets and fires. It's going to be spoiled to make it a 1-2 count. Splain this season out of the University of Arizona, a native of Los Gatos, California. Hitting .364 this season in his 9 games with the Gatemen. It's been a big addition for them as their offense has really struggled as of late. 2 balls, 2 strikes now. And you think about David Glancy, who was a big part of that Wareham offense earlier on in the season, still leads the league in runs with his mark of 20. 2-2 just misses inside, and so Wareham definitely still trying to figure out what works in their lineup as time running out for them to make a push for the playoffs. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Easterly set, and the pitch is going to be popped up. Shallow right center field, drifting over is Obie to his left, called off by Sauke, and Casey puts it away for out number 3. Easterly faces the minimum. No score here at White House. We'll be right back to meet the Mariner order on the other side. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We welcome you back into White House Field on a beautiful night here in Harwich. It looked like we weren't going to get a game in for most of the day, but here we are. Beautiful 76 degrees, nice and cool. A touch muggy, but you can't complain with the weather you're getting, especially with no precipitation, as we'll meet the Harwich Mariners for Coach Steve Engler. Leading off in his return from the United States team, the third baseman, Seaver King. Batting second, the designated hitter, Ethan Anderson. Batting third is the shortstop, Kalen Culpepper. Batting cleanup, the first baseman, Mason Guerra. Batting fifth, the center fielder, Devin Obi. Batting sixth, the left fielder, Lorenzo Carrier. Batting seventh, the right fielder, Casey Sauke. Batting eighth, the catcher, Andrew Yu. And Daniel Rivera bats ninth at second base. Well, for the Gatemen, it'll be Riley Eichhoff, who's set to toe the rubber. Right-handed pitcher, 5'11", 185-pound redshirt sophomore. Attends Coastal Carolina, a native of Bristow, Virginia. Comes in with a record of 1-0, has thrown 10 innings, 10 strikeouts, an ERA of 4.50. Opponents hitting .316 against him and a 10-4 strikeout-to-walk ratio. Last game, gave up 3 earned runs and 5 hits to go along with 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and a 7-run win versus the Brewster Whitecaps. Trying to replicate that same performance here, Wyatt.
Well, and you have to also look at how he's able to give quality starts. A very polished pitcher, similar to someone like Tom Shimoleski. Had that quality start for 6 2/3 innings. Gave up just 3 runs, 4 strikeouts for Coastal Carolina's win in the Sun Belt Conference tournament. Did have 5 combined earned runs over the past 2 outings, but closed his 3rd season at Coastal Carolina on a very strong note. And for Wareham, not a very strikeout-heavy team, so certainly has to be looking to tap into that here, as the Mariners have struggled with that as of late in their lineup.
It'll be Seaver King set to get things going, and wow, isn't it great to have him back? A Harwich offense who desperately needed him. King comes in hitting .471, a team high, and he was really hot right before he left and made the United States team. It's a ball and a strike, or a ball and no strikes from the pitcher in Eichhoff. King awaits, and the 1-0 is going to be ripped out into the gap in left center field. Going back is Sheridan. It's past him. King rounding first, heading into second, and just like that, it's a leadoff double. King picks up right as if he didn't miss a beat.
Well, he played for the collegiate national team here in the United States for a reason. His ability to shoot into the alleys, and that time didn't hold back one bit. Mariners have been aggressive early in counts, and that time Seaver King just took one at the letters and pushed it to the fence.
Great at bat for him as Ethan Anderson will dig in, designated hitter today. Anderson, a guy who started off hot and since has struggled. He's been putting the ball in play, just unfortunately can't find a home for it. Hitting .125 across his 32 at-bats for the Mariners. First pitch to Anderson is going to be lifted once again out into that gap in left center field. Going back is Sherrod, and it's past him. It goes over the fence. It's a ground rule double for Ethan Anderson, and the Mariners lead it 1-0 early on.
Yep, same spot. That time Anderson, a switch hitter, able to take it deep on a fastball. Right now the Mariners finding ways just to get after someone in Eichhoff who has a strong number of strikeouts, but as you said, Devin, struggling with the batting average on opponents and has to face another tough hitter in Kalen Culpepper. And this is the jolt that the Mariners need. Certainly got that message clearly last night.
A big knock, and yeah, Harwich, who was shut out last night, didn't have a hit till the 9th. Now is on the board and has a pair of hits without an out here in the first inning. Eichhoff not being eased into this outing as he drops in a strike to Culpepper. One game was rained out today. It was the Brewster Whitecaps taking on the YD Red Sox at Red Wilson Field. Looked like the rain was supposed to continue till 5. It kind of became stagnant at 3:30, and now a beautiful night as Culpepper rips this one out into deep center field. Going back is Bozer, and it's over his head. Culpepper rounding first, easily into second. Coming around and to score is going to be Ethan Anderson, and just like that, it's 3 straight doubles for the Harwich Mariners. They lead it 2-0.
Already nearing a single game high on extra base hits in an inning as well, Devin, and Ethan Anderson coming across to score. And this is what you need out of 2 Team USA Collegiate National Team products, just be able to move runners and has put a lot of stress-inducing contact on the starting pitcher. And if this keeps up, he may not be around for long as Mason Guerra, another strong contact hitter, steps in.
I guess that they really were the charge that Harwich needed coming into the second half of the season. It's going to be Mason Guerra's turn. The first baseman was held hitless in back-to-back games after an 11-game hit streak. He grounds this one over to Murillo on to first base. 6-3 putout for out number 1 here. And let's meet the Wareham Gatemen defense. They are last in the Cape Cod Baseball League with 41 errors and a .958 fielding percentage. In the outfield, out and left is Grant Sherrod. Bobby Bozer's in center with Nick McLean in right. Third to first, J.C. Cologne's at third. Sebastian Murillo's the shortstop. Garen Caulfield's at second with Grant Hussey at first. And Tommy Splain doing the catching. One away here for Devin Obie. Obie second on the Mariners with 17 hits this season. Hitting right around the 250 mark. Had the only hit of the ball game for Harwich last night in the 12-0 loss. 0-1 the count now from Eichhoff, who's really trying to find a way to stop the bleeding early on. He's given up 3 straight doubles to start the game before that ground out. As Obie breaks his bat, grounds it over to the shortstop. Murillo's got to rush the throw, and it's there in time as Culpepper's down to third, and there's now 2 away.
All numbers aside, the Mariners have runners moving right now. You consider what they lacked at 2 outs last night, going down in order multiple times, and right now it seems as if everyone's really due for a hit, and you're starting to find that continuity against a right-handed starter who's struggling a little bit with that opponent batting average.
And I tell you now, with the addition of Culpepper and King, looking up and down this Mariner order, although they were 1 hit last night, this offense looks like it could be a juggernaut going forward. First pitch to Carrier is going to be fouled off the plate. Got a little lucky there. Probably could have been a ground out. And so it'll be 0-1. Carrier in left field tonight. He's had his ups and downs here in Harwich. Had a multi-hit game against the Kettleers. Reached base 3 times in that one before being held out of the hit department yesterday. Someone who can really make an impact with one swing of the bat. 6'5", 225 pounds out of Bear, Delaware. Hitting .203 for Harwich this season. Here comes the 0-1. And it's going to be flared out into the glove of the first baseman, Grant Hussey, for out number 3. So 3 straight doubles to start the ball game allow Harwich to chase in a pair. They lead it 2-0. We'll be right back to the house on the other side. 2-0 Harwich. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We'll welcome you back into the second inning. Reed Easterly back out there for his second inning of work, facing 4, 5, 6, the middle third for the Wareham Gatemen. After they went quietly in the first pitch is going to be fouled off to the right. 0-1 from Grant Hussey. Tonight's umpiring crew, Alan Liberdoni is calling the balls and strikes. Mike Rabideau's over at first with Brian McGugan over at third. Next pitch to Hussey's in there for a strike. And it's quickly 0-2 now from Easterly, who seems to be in a rhythm and a really good sign early on.
It's a good sign. You want to make sure that you can just get your lineup as quick as possible. A team that's really firing on all cylinders.
As that one was foul tipped, you couldn't hang on. Should have been the first strikeout for Easterly, and so we'll stay at 0-2. Hussey leads the league in doubles with 8 this season. He's been another one of the consistent goers in the Wareham order, and he lifts this one out into the gap, but Devin Obi ranging over and makes a great running catch. Almost toppled over into the warning track, full speed ahead. A great effort from Obi, and it's going to be a loud out number 1 here in inning 2.
That's a way to avoid some errors in the outfields, and Mariners a couple nights ago didn't really have the chance to knock it down, and you consider what they need out of Devin Obi, just that speed, in addition to Carrier being on top of his game as well. The Mariners looking sharp in the field right now.
So it'll be Bobby Bozer's turn. First pitch to him is going to be outside for a ball, 1-0. Bozer on the season hitting just 191, but has drawn 20 walks. So his OBP is exactly double 191. It's 382. Finds ways to get on base without the bat sometimes, and that'll work. It's 2 balls and no strikes. A very patient hitter in Bozer. Does have 5 doubles on the season, making his 24th appearance for the Gatemen. It's going to be a 2-1 count as that one's fouled off. Sebastian Murillo's on deck. Wareham trailing early on in the ball game on a beautiful night here in Harwich. Partly cloudy and right around that 76-degree mark. Next pitch is going to be in there just below the letters for a strike, and it's 2-2. 4 up, 4 down for Reed Easterly early on. Still without a strikeout. I'm sure those will come. Comes into his set, and the pitch just misses low and away, and it's 3-2 now. Wyatt, you had a chance to talk to Reed Easterly a little bit, and he had some really good things to say. Very grateful to be within the Cape Cod Baseball League, as we're just about set for the 3-2. And it's going to miss low, but yeah, tell us a little bit about your conversation.
Yeah, and it's interesting with Reed. He's still very new to the whole pitching staff around here, still getting to know the pitching coach and R.J. Thomas in addition to Steve Angler, but very adept at being able to come in key spots in the game. Started 10 of 13 games this past season at Yale, so he's now looking to take his game to the next level and not just being a Saturday or Sunday starter at a program like Yale that's trying to compete at the national level, but you consider him and starting to really find his way.
As this one's going to be flied out into right field, down for a base hit. Sauke can't catch up to a rounding second. Heading into third is Bozer. The throw comes in a second, and it'll be a 1-out single for Sebastian Murillo, and the tying run is on board.
And he did credit his defense, in which he got the 2 scoreless innings in his first relief outing the other night. Mariners won 7-6 against Chatham. And for him to be able to have that, I think will be crucial for him here tonight. That time just a bloop shot into right field, and a little bit of a tough run for Casey Sauke out of Virginia that time. But for him to be having Kalen Culpepper in addition to Seaver King on the left side of the infield will be crucial here tonight as he looks for those quick innings thus far.
Renee Lastix will dig in, the designated hitter tonight. First pitch from Easterly is going to be popped up in the infield. Andrew Yu and Ethan Anderson convening. Ball tails back towards fair territory, and rather it's going to be Mason Guerra coming down with it for out number 2, a big out number 2 that holds the runners at the corners. So now it'll be Grant Sherrod's turn, 6'3", 220-pound right-handed hitter, native of Sumner, Washington. Goes to South Carolina Upstate, hitting just 143 across his 3 games so far, 1 for 7. It's a ball and no strikes now to him. J.C. Cologne on deck. Wareham trying to chip away at that Harwich lead that's been built early on. Easterly set the pitch. Misses up high, and it's going to be 2-0 now. Harwich, a team who's lost 11 of their last 15 games, including 8 of their last 10 and 4 of their last 5. They are in a cold spell for sure, but still sitting in the heart of that playoff race in the East Division standings. They are second in points in the standings, despite playing 3 more games than the next team, Orleans. And they also still have 5.5 games on Chatham, who would be the playoff cutoff in last place. 2-1 as that is cut on and missed by Sherrod. Left fielder tonight for the Gatemen. Wareham just 10 wins this season. That's second least in the league behind Chatham, who was able to pick up a victory last night. 3 balls and a strike now to Grant Sherrod. Nice crowd rolling in with the weather holding off, and it's turned out to be the perfect day for baseball. 3-1, there goes the runner, and it's going to be ball 4 anyway. So the bases are all loaded up now for the 9-hitter and J.C. Cologne, and chance for Wareham to do some damage.
Easterly has the ability to force some ground ball contact, and with a polished pitcher that he is, left-hander facing some right-handers here, it's been a little bit of a challenge thus far, but just needing one more out here to get the Mariners lineup back up. You already have 3 hits behind you here tonight, unlike the Mariners' blunder last night.
And yeah, you said the walks could be a problem for Easterly, as he's already had 2 in the inning. Trying to get out of a bases-loaded jam now. He's behind in the count 1-0 to J.C. Cologne. Cologne this season out of Missouri, hitting .222 for the Gatemen. 1-0 is going to be fouled off to the right, and it's 1-1. Cologne does have just 1 RBI on the season, has a chance to quadruple that total with 1 swing of the bat. 1-1 is going to be lined but foul over towards the Wareham bullpen on the right. Scary moment there, as if that one landed fair, it could have been 2 or 3 runs. Ball and 2 strikes to the 9-hitter. On deck, the leadoff hitter, Nick McLean. Harwich leads 2-0 thanks to 3 straight triples to start off the ball game. 1-2 is going to be lined foul, this time towards the Harwich pen. Nice play by Zane, or no, maybe that's Tom Shimoleski or Zane Probst who was able to snag it off the wall. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Easterly already set again, and the pitch. It's going to be grounded over to third baseman in King, and he'll take it himself to the bag to get the out. A real close play down at third base, but King able to retire the side. Reed Easterly strands the bases chucked as we head into the home half of the second. Still 2-0 Mariners. Back at you on the other side. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Bottom third of the order due up for the Mariners. Casey Sauke, Andrew Yu, and Daniel Rivera set to get us going here. In the home half of the second, Reed Easterly able to escape a bases-loaded jam, in which he helped with a single and 2 walks in the top half. Harwich still on top 2-0 as Casey Sauke digs in. Coming off an 0-for-4 ball game. Had 2 hits against Katuitt, another multi-hit game for him, his 4th. He's had a decent time since arriving here in Harwich. First pitch to him is going to be grounded over to Murillo at shortstop. A couple bounces over to first in time. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the second.
Now 4 straight retired here for Riley Eichhoff out of Coastal Carolina, starting to settle in. Gets another important out here, and Sauke, who, as you mentioned, had started to find a little bit of hitting momentum, has to face Andrew Yu, who's also been heating up as of late. So the Mariners with a right-handed heavy lineup trying to get after a right-handed hitter here today, or pitcher, I should say.
Andrew Yu's turn. The catcher had a pair of hits at Katuitt. Starting to heat up his bat after a really slow start to the season. You hitting .212 for the Mariners across his 33 at-bats, now making his 10th appearance in a ball game. 1-0. Cut on a miss. Big swing from you that time, and it's 1-1.
That's a pitch you has to lay off of that trailing slider on the outer corner. He could also go inside with it with 2 strikes, but we'll see what happens here.
You, 6'0", 220-pound junior out of Nashville, attends Duke. It's going to be 2 balls and a strike now. Made his debut against the Kettleers back on June 19th in a 9-4 victory. 2 balls and a strike. As the pitch from Eichhoff is going to be cut on a miss, 2-2. Not much time for you this past season at Duke. Only 21 games, 32 at-bats in that span. Scored 5 runs, only had 3 hits. Had a .250 on-base percentage and slugged .125. 2-2. Cut on a miss. Kind of a late reaction that time from you, a defensive swing, and he goes down as the first strikeout victim for Eichhoff.
Eichhoff certainly capable of getting quick strikeouts, and he's gotten the Mariners quiet here in the second after getting into a little bit of rocky waters back in the first. Has to face Daniel Rivera, very capable of reaching first on some speed.
Rivera, the 9-hitter for Harwich tonight. Pitch is in there for a strike. It's 0-1. Rivera also had an 0 for last night. Native of New Britain, Connecticut, hitting .200 this season for Harwich, but a .360 on-base percentage. Been a really good guy to add to that lower third of the lineup. We've also seen him hit the top of the order and succeed there. It's going to be 0-2 count now to the newest Kansas State transfer, as Eichhoff looking for a 1-2-3 second. The pitch is going to be grounded over to the shortstop, Murillo. Spins, fires, and it's not in time. Rivera in there safely. A really good effort from Murillo. Able to range way over to his left, spin and get the throw on target. But speed from Rivera, one of his greatest attributes. And he's on first now with 2 away.
That's what you value out of the bottom of the lineup. You know, Rivera's not going to be your greatest power hitter, maybe lack a little bit of contact at times, but that time put the ball in play, and that's what you value instead of another strikeout here from Eichhoff, and the Mariners have a little bit of life with 2 outs.
Seaver King's turn, a runner on and 2 away here. He doubled, came around to score in the first inning. There goes Rivera. The throw down is not going to be in time. It wasn't held onto, and Rivera picks up yet another stolen base, really showing off the speed.
Caulfield did a good job of knocking the ball down. Had nobody been there to cover, Murillo certainly might have lost it into center field. That's something the Mariners have done in just pickoff attempts this season.
King was on a tear right before his departure. Went 9 for 10 and reached base 10 times in a 2-game span earlier in June. 1-0. Dropped in there for a strike, 1-1, including a 5 for 5 performance, Wyatt. It was really a treat to watch him, and then it felt like the rug was kind of ripped out of this Harwich roster when King departed and naturally made Team USA. 1 ball, 1 strike now. And the pitch. Cut on a miss. Big swing from King that time, and it's 1-2. King, along with Kalen Culpepper, were able to make that USA team and do really well in their couple weeks there. Now back in Harwich. And who knows, maybe an all-star or 2. All-star game coming up next Saturday here at White House on the 22nd. If you're able to be here, fantastic. Should be a good one. Here's the 1-2. And it just missed. I'm not sure where. That looked to be a really good punch-out pitch, but King with a good eye is able to lay off, and now 2 balls and 2 strikes with a runner on second and 2 away. King went to Wingate this past season, Division II school, now transferred to Wake Forest, who, of course, we know made that great run in the College World Series. 2-2 is going to be spoiled off to the right. Now towards the light pole once more, and it's going to be 2-2. Ethan Anderson on deck. Harwich trying to extend their lead here with 2 away. A little rally would definitely not help, or definitely not hurt, rather. Eichhoff comes set. Rivera, big lead off second, dancing in and out, and the pitch is going to be ripped into center field and caught by Bobby Bozer. That ball was on a line, cranked out there into the gap, but Bozer able to run it down and make it out number 3. So the Mariners strand a runner in scoring position heading into the 3rd inning. Still 2-0 Harwich. We'll be right back on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Nothing says summer like Cape Cod baseball. Rooted in rich tradition and top collegiate talent, the Cape Cod Baseball League has been delighting fans and families for 100 years. Mark your calendars. The 2023 Cape Cod Baseball League All-Star Game takes place on July 22nd at 6 p.m. at White House Field in Harwich. Plan ahead and arrive at White House Field early to experience family-friendly festivities throughout the day.
Into the 3rd inning of action here. Devin Dobeck joined by Wyatt Kopelman here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Harwich leading the Wareham Gatemen 2-0. As Reed Easterly most recently was able to strand 3 runners, 1 at each base, in the top of the 2nd. First pitch now to the batter, and McLean's grounded over to Culpepper. He launches one over to first, and it's going to be 1 pitch, 1 out here to start inning number 3. Garen Caulfield's turn. He flew out to right field back in the 1st inning. Wareham trying to string together some offense here as they trail Harwich by pair. First pitch misses down low, and it's 1-0. Caulfield, a sophomore at the University of Arizona, holds 15 hits with 3 RBI and 8 walks through his first 14 games here in Wareham. 3 multi-hit performances as he rips that one on a line out to left, and it's a catch made by Lorenzo Carrier, battling the sun, an atom ball that time, and it's going to be 2 away.
Easterly certainly pitching to contact right now. He has the defense behind him, and that's certainly what's going to keep him carrying through the start. Just giving up 1 hit thus far back in the 2nd, trying to face the minimum here.
So it'll be Tommy Splain's turn. The catcher flew out to right in his first at-bat. Splain, 6'5", 208-pound sophomore. His first pitch to him misses up high, and it's 1-0. Splain from the same hometown as Garen Caulfield as he pops that one up in a shallow right center field. Coming in is Obi and Sauki, and Obi calls for it while losing the hat. And that will be out number 3, a 1-2-3 third for Reed Easterly. Moving right along here into the bottom of the 3rd, 2-0 Harwich. We'll be right back on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Red Shirt Friday here in Harwich, and Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League has partnered with OT Sports to provide all 10 teams with specially designed red jerseys and Zephyr hats to provide all 10 teams with specially designed camo hats which are worn by the home team every Friday. This special weekly celebration of Red Shirt Fridays is also sponsored by the Mass State Lottery. Support our troops and join us by wearing red to the ballpark each Friday. And thank you to OT Sports, Zephyr, and the Mass State Lottery for their continued support. It'll now be Ethan Anderson, Kalen Culpepper, and Mason Guerra heading into the heart of the order here. Set to get things going up against Eichhoff, who's back out there for his third inning of work. Faced just 4 batters in the second inning, looking for that same fate here. First pitch is going to be cut on and missed by Anderson to make it 0-1. Anderson hit a ground rule double, came around to score back in the first inning. As into the windup, and the pitch now from Eichhoff in there for a strike. It's 0-2. Anderson definitely needed that extra base hit to really get going, and he showed a lot of signs of life. We've seen him hit it to the warning track, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times this season. Still looking for that extra surge, and finally able to muscle one over the wall one way or another here as he's rung up on 3 pitches. Riley Eichhoff picking up his second strikeout in style. A nasty fastball right on the outer edge, and there's going to be one away.
The tentativeness has hurt Harwich at times this season, but Mariners with that 2-0 lead, looking for some insurance here, and looking at Kalen Culpepper, off to a good start here tonight.
So it will be Kalen Culpepper digging back in. Culpepper out of Memphis, Tennessee. Went to St. Benedict at Auburndale High School. He's up in the count 1-0. This season with Harwich, hitting .281 before his departure at a .425 on-base percentage and a .313 slugging percentage. Just 1 RBI for Kalen. 9 hits in his 32 at-bats. Of course, picked up an RBI double in the first inning. It's a ball and a strike now to Culpepper. That double was just his second extra base hit this season. 1-1. Cut on and miss, 1-2. Nice breaking ball that slides down into the dirt area. And now Eichhoff, plenty of room to work around Culpepper. Ball and 2 strikes. Eichhoff taking his time out there on the mound. And the pitch is going to be ripped in a shallow center field. Long run for Bozer, and it's down for a base hit. Kalen Culpepper, 2 for 2 today. Nice start for him. Right back in Harwich, and so there will be a runner on first for Mason Guerra.
And he knew that he didn't have to jolt at that time, just needed a casual base hit in a sense. Of course, maybe you don't consider every hit casual. You have to work for what you have, but Kalen Culpepper very capable of doing that, and right now the line is once again moving for the Mariners. Should Mason Guerra be able to provide a hit?
Guerra grounded out to shortstop. Sebastian Murillo back in the first inning. Trying to move Culpepper over here. Culpepper doing all kinds of dance moves over at first base. First pitch is going to be in there for a strike, 0-1. Devin Obie's on deck. Harwich leading 2-0 here. Fueled by already 5 hits through just 2 1/3 innings. Here comes the 0-1. This is up high, and snap pick back to first base is going to be grabbed out of the dirt by Hussey. Nice job there. That could have been trouble for Wareham. Ball and a strike. You can definitely tell that Eichhoff's taking a little time to change up his cadence and rhythm out there on the mound in the event Culpepper were to take off. Here comes the 1-1. Nope, it'll be a pickoff attempt back on Culpepper, and he's back in there with a head-first dive. 5 hits for the M's, 1 for the Gatemen. As coming set once more is Eichhoff. And the pitch out of the stretch. There goes the runner and Culpepper. The throw down's a good one, and it's not going to be in time. I mean, it looked like to be a bang-bang play. I thought maybe the tag wasn't there in time, but Culpepper, a really nice slide in. He'll take the stolen base, a runner now in scoring position.
Yeah, Mariners certainly taking advantage of Eichhoff right now with that speed. Saw Daniel Rivera with that stolen base as well back in the second.
1-2 count now to Guerra. Eichhoff, a long look in. Now finally comes set at the belt, tapping his left foot. And home with the pitch. And it's in there. Strike 3. Guerra is rung out. Second backwards K of the inning for Riley Eichhoff. And it's got to feel good as there's 2 away.
Already gave up a couple of extra base hits. I'd say a couple, really more like 3. And then getting a little bit of ground ball contact here. Certainly has to look to go to the strikeout as well. Capable of it, but facing another power hitter in Devin Obie.
Devin Obie out of Duke, and yes, he does have power, tied for the team high with 3 home runs, along with Lorenzo Carrier. Pitch misses up high for a ball. Obie grounded out to short back in the first inning. Comes in hitting .258 across now his 21st game. It's really become an instrumental part of this Harwich order and an everyday guy. Here comes the 1-0. Going to be lined but foul off to the left just by the third base bag, and it's 1-1. And I tell you, Eichhoff really taking his sweet time once he comes set. About 5-6 seconds before his delivery and trying to make something work as his team's trailing, and they definitely don't need Harwich putting up any more runs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Eichhoff once again coming set, not even worried about the runner and Culpepper down at second. The pitch, cut on a miss, 1-2. Yeah, not even taking a glance down to second base. Culpepper could probably get a really good jump if he so wanted, but with 2 outs and a really good hitter up, not much point in taking third base. Here comes the 1-2. And it's going to be hit out to right field. Ranging back is McLean, and he's there to put it away in the gap for out number 3. A really good ride that time from Devin Obie, but it comes up empty. Harwich strands Culpepper in scoring position. They still lead it 2-0 heading into the middle third of the ball game. We'll be right back in a flash on the other side here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We welcome you back into the 4th inning. It'll be Hussey, Bozer, and Murillo due up for the Gatemen as Harwich leads this one 2-0. Handing play-by-play duties over for innings 4 through 6. Wyatt Kopelman taking the reins. Wyatt, take it away.
Well, Devin Reed Easterly out of Yale, settling in nicely here. Is grounder over towards the right side from Grant Hussey. It's through for a base hit. just right past that 3-hole, as it's a second hit here for Wareham, trailing Harwich 2-0. As I was about to get to, Easterly grounding that time, but retired Wareham in order in the third. So Grant Hussey out of West Virginia with his first base hit on the night. He goes to 1 for 2. But to take a look at how the Mariners have sorely needed some hitting production, what better time for Kalen Culpepper, Seaver King, the shortstop, and third baseman starting here today to be back in the lineup at the top.
Yeah, it's been so integral to have them back. I mean, they're already ripping the cover off the baseball early on. We saw they've gotten 3 for 4 early on, and the one out was a Seaver King line out to center field. I mean, they're seeing it really well, and really comforting to have that in your back pocket. They have 3 of your first 5 hits here.
Culpepper of Kansas State, King of Wake Forest, transferring from Wingate Division II baseball, just returning from their commitment to play for the Collegiate National Team of the United States. Now over to Bobby Bozer, the center fielder out of South Florida. Bozer here on the night with a 1-out walk back in the second. Easterly straining the bases loaded. Retired the side in order in the first and the third. 1-2 outside. So for Bozer, certainly had a field day against the Mariners last time out. Mariners went over to Spillane Field before hosting the Gatemen. It was the first meeting in which Bozer had a multi-hit game as the count runs full here to the Wesley Chapel, Florida native. Went 1 for 2 with a pair of walks in that 18-0 loss at Cotuit last night. And as the Mariners only had 1 hit on a 1-out double from Devin Obie, it was a lopsided game as the 3-2 is grounded over towards the left side of Culpepper. They'll flip on to second for 1. The throw on to first is in time. It goes 6-4 to 3. Culpepper going to Rivera and over to Guerra. And there are 2 away here in the fourth as the bases go cleared.
Couldn't have drawn it up much better. An easy ground ball, hit at the right pace over to Culpepper. Quick flip for him, and beautiful turn by Rivera. Those two already in sync. A couple of Kansas State guys who are going to get along real well come springtime next year, and nice to see them clicking early.
Mariners near the top of the Cape Cod Baseball League in turning double plays this season as Sebastian Murillo out of Georgia skies one to the right side. Guerra comes on, he makes the catch for the final out of the fourth inning. Well, the Mariners turning their 17th double play on the season as a ground ball double play and a pop-out get Reed Easterly of Yale out of it without any damage. The Mariners still leading 2-0. We'll step away for a moment here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Reed Easterly with a 6-4-3 double play and a foul out to Mason Guerra, getting the Wareham Gatemen still without any runs in the fourth inning. Harwich leading 2-0. A pinch hitter here for Lorenzo Carrier in the South Carolina product, Kennedy Jones. So Lorenzo Carrier, the left fielder,
is done. He was 0 for 1 with a pop out to the first baseman in Grant Hussey. Meanwhile, Kennedy Jones stepping in once again as a pinch hitter here. 2 runs on 5 hits for Harwich. If you're joining us late, the Mariners getting the scoring going with a pair of RBI doubles back in the first. The returns of Seaver King and Kalen Culpepper certainly helping the Mariners line up early here against a struggling Wareham team that has only won 2 of its last 10 games. 18-0 loss last night against the Katuitt Kettleers, a very good team at the 21 thresholds. First team to do it as well in the Cape Cod Baseball League, as it'll be 1-1 here to Culpepper, rather to Kennedy Jones. Culpepper tonight already 2 for 2 in his return. Seaver King 1 for 2. This one shot into left field. It's through for a base hit. Kennedy Jones steps in off the bench, and he wastes no time. It's a leadoff base hit to left field, and the Mariners are getting going with hitting here in the 4th.
What a beautiful flat swing he put on that one. A pitch middle in, and just able to find a way to lace it right between that third and short gap. Really nice swing from Jones, and got to feel good for him as his offensive stats have been declining a little bit. Still hitting for power, but not necessarily average. And so to hit a nice liner like that into left field, it's got to feel really good.
For Culpepper, he's looking to provide a lineup spark as Sauke drifts it high and deep out towards left field. And going back, Bozer at the wall, and it's off the wall that time. Jones speeding around 30, gets the wave around sign from Mark Thibault. The throw to the plate is in time. It's in time. An excellent relay throw from Bozer in center, as it's an 8-6-2 relay put out here against the leading runner in Kennedy Jones, and it stays 2-0.
And yeah, I was about to say this was fantastic base running by Kennedy Jones, because he really read it well off the bat. Knew that it was going to land. He was already past second base by the time the ball hit the ground, not even worrying about having to go back and tag. And an aggressive send from Coach Thibault. Credit to Wareham on a nice relay, and that keeps the score 2-0.
Well, Wareham has certainly struggled in run prevention over the last 5 games, giving up nearly 12 runs per game. But that time, a huge burst from Bobby Bozer, the South Florida product, keeping Harwich's 3rd run off the board here, as Mariners have 2 runs on 7 hits now on the double from Casey Sauke. Over to Andrew Yu, the catcher out of Duke, as he lines it over towards the right side. Caulfield in time, and that moves a runner, and Sauke over is already with a greater sense of initiative and just being able to move runners over, very aggressive in trying to get the ball in play here tonight.
Yeah, and you'll take it. They're a team that strikes out a lot, but as of late, despite all the negative things on offense, they've done a great job of staying in at-bats and not striking out. I believe just 6 strikeouts for them last night, a team that strikes out around 9 or 10 times a game, and finally, starting to tone it down in that department, which is great news.
So a runner on 3rd in Sauke, Daniel Rivera, the Southern New Hampshire transfer, stepping in here, set to go to Kansas State. Went 0 for 3 in a 12-run loss against Orleans last night, looking to get on base again here after a single to shortstop with 2 outs back in the 2nd. Mariners have not scored since the opening frame on a pair of RBI doubles. As you watch the slider on the outer half, it goes to 1-1. That slider has not lacked command from Eichhoff here today. The right-hander out of Coastal Carolina closed his season on a very strong note. In the Sun Belt Conference tournament, gave his team a very strong start of 6 2/3 innings, just 3 earned runs, as he looks to keep the Mariners in check here. So 2-0 Harwich. Sauke on 3rd, looking to score for the first time here today. A leadoff single from Kennedy Jones. He was thrown out of the plate 8-6-2 on the double from Sauke. Mariners have not won since a 7-6 victory against Chatham, in which they led 6-0 in the first inning. Were able to hold on from a 2-inning save against Reed Easterly, or a 2-inning win, I should say. 1-2 here to Rivera. Transferred from Southern New Hampshire of Division III baseball after hitting .365, 25 multi-hit games this past season. Had 36 RBIs, and He has been a nice surprise here at the bottom of the order with the speed that he brings, as you're mentioning.
Yes.
Has an RBI to this point in the season through 7 games. 1-2. Just outside.
Whole Wareham team thought they had strike 3. They started to run back.
Chris Latito and Joe Savino watching just from the edge of the bullpen area. Big 2-out spot for the Mariners to pad their lead here.
Looks like Zane Probst loosening as well.
2-2 foul back. Rivera out of New Britain, Connecticut, from the area originally. And he has played not only 4 years for Southern New Hampshire, but he's played for a handful of summer collegiate baseball teams as well. Played for the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox as he made his Cape Cod Baseball League debut in 2021. 6 games there, 5 hits with 3 walks. He started to replicate that here. Had 2 hits against Orleans back on July 7th. And the 2-2. Tapped back over towards the left side. Splain, the catcher, tries to flip it home, and it will be too late. Casey Sauke reading it perfectly. A base hit and an RBI here for Daniel Rivera, as Casey Sauke was able to catch Eichhoff off guard as the Mariners have a 3-run lead.
And actually, this was a really great play by Eichhoff, just didn't execute. He was able to have Sauke dead to right, sold the throw over to first base and had him. Just unfortunately didn't flip it in time, waited a little too long, and scammer gets scammed.
Well, that flips the lineup card here for Seaver King. Mariners have their first run since the first inning, in which they have much needed after getting shut out last night against their Cape Cod East Division foes in the Orleans Firebirds, losing the first game in 5 tries this season. King 1 for 2 here today, as a pickoff attempt is in time back over at first, and Daniel Rivera doesn't agree with Mike Rabideau, the first base umpire. So Seaver King will have to wait for his 3rd plate appearance, but nonetheless, the Mariners score 1 run on 3 hits, no errors, and leave nobody on. They have a 3-0 lead going into the 5th. We'll be right back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Live from White House Field in Harwich, Massachusetts, the Harwich Mariners look to keep it rolling. Well, it took a while to get here, but the power's back on, the burgers are on the grill, and the fans have filed in. We're ready to play baseball here on this lovely Tuesday evening. Pitched a good one, and that is going back. That's a hard hit ball. Back it goes toward the fence. Gone! The Harwich Mariners walk it off.
An RBI single to the pitcher in Riley Eichhoff of Coastal Carolina, scoring Casey Sauke as the Mariners score for the first time since the first. And they have a little bit of insurance here as Reed Easterly of Yale is back on the mound, set for his 5th inning of his first start on the season. Made his debut against Chatham on Sunday as the Mariners are now trying to stop a 3-game skid. The first pitch to Reed Lastris is lifted high in the middle infield, stepping in Culpepper out of Kansas State, making his return tonight from Team USA and the collegiate national team. There's 1 away, and there's also 3 straight retired. And as a matter of fact, Devin, 6 of the last 7 retired here from Easterly, starting to pick up right where you left off against Chatham.
Yeah, he's been fantastic tonight. You can't complain with anything he's done, finding ways to be efficient, get through the lineup, and when you got a great reliever in Zane Probst behind you, it's got to feel really good. Pitch him with a serious swagger out there.
Now the question is, how long will Probst actually warm up and wait as Easterly has some continuity here? Has forced the ground ball contact here today, has no strikeouts as of yet. Started in 10 of 13 games at Yale this season. Deals a first pitch strike here to Grant Sherrod.
Sherrod walked back in the second inning. Not much turnover in the lineup for Wareham.
Well, he shoots this one into left field instead, and it's the third hit of the Gatemen here tonight. So Grant Sherrod looking to elevate from a walk back in the second, as you mentioned, and East will be working out of the stretch here with one down.
Not that that will really concern him, a guy who prefers the stretch per se, so we'll see if he can continue here as, you know, once you start to flip that lineup card over for the second time, it's when it gets tough. Facing the 9-hitter and J.C. Cologne here, so want to make sure you get this guy before heading back to the top.
So Easterly still looking for that first strikeout, had 3 strikeouts in those 2 scoreless innings without allowing any hits in that season debut against Chatham here Sunday. John certainly looked toward a good outing last night. Mariners trying to get back in the win column here today. J.C. Cologne, the third baseman, looking for that first hit here as well. Easterly, a rising senior at Yale, had a 6-3 record with a save, an ERA of just about 2.93 this past season. He has already broken his Cape Cod Baseball League season high as he looks to go 5 full here. His second season at Yale, he was only 2-4, but had a team most 4 saves. Sometimes tough to get more wins, or I guess have less wins than what you would expect as a closer, even in a non-Power 5 conference. But Cologne down 0-2 in the count here as Easterly is bordering his first strikeout here today. Retired Wareham in order in the first and the third. Easterly out of Katy, Texas, facing a lower third in this Wareham lineup that has just 1 hit thus far. 0-2, ground over towards the left side. Stays fair for King, fires to first in time. Seaver King not wasting any time. There are 2 away here as the Wake Forest product certainly got to it in time, as that keeps the runner at bay at first, at second.
That was a sensational play. That's not easy, especially coming in like that and having to rush the throw without setting your feet. King, one of the best to do it in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and very fast runner in J.C. Cologne. Executed perfectly by King. Now a chance to get out of the inning with just 1 out here.
Turns it over to an 0-2 Nick McLean here today as he's swinging on first pitch. Trying to get Wareham on the board here. A pair of groundouts thus far. The top of the order has been quieter than the bottom of the order for Wareham. Combined 0-6 here against Easterly, who has certainly had his way, has been able to establish some leverage, and has had the defense behind him. That has been the most key here for the Katy, Texas native. Wareham just an average team in terms of speed on the base paths. But a runner in scoring position here. Slight threat here against the left-hander out of Yale. Wareham has not hit too well collectively as a team, hitting just .235 as this one is rolled foul.
And it's been a tough go for both clubs in the hitting department. I mean, we'll get more into Harwich's splits as far as June and July go, but July has been a power source for Harwich. 7 home runs in the month of July, just 6 in the whole month of June, but the average has really just shot down.
And Wareham still with the 3rd most RBIs, and there is a swing and a miss from Easterly as he gets his first strikeout, and he deals it with a fastball down the middle, just blown by McLean that time. Wareham brings a runner into scoring position on a ground out, but scores no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leaves 1 stranded. The Mariners still leading 3-0 halfway home here at White House Field. We're coming on back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Another scoreless inning in the first start of the year for Reed Easterly, the starter out of Yale. As Seaver King, Ethan Anderson, Kalen Culpepper due up, the top third of the order here for the Mariners. To catch you up on Seaver King, the newest commit to Wake Forest after spending 2 seasons at Wingate of Division II baseball, had played in 9 games for the Harwich Mariners before departing for the collegiate national team. In his sophomore season at Wingate, Devin, I don't know if you may have bumped into this or not, but he actually did not go without a hit until April 24th against Mount Olive. I think we may have mentioned this before he actually departed Harwich here from the Cape Cod Baseball League, but what a magnificent 45-game hit streak he was able to put together, and that has been on full display here. Even tonight, in that first return, he's 1 for 2 here, but he's quickly down 0-2 in the count here against Riley Eichhoff of Coastal Carolina. Just an excellent contact bat to have back in the lineup here for a Mariners team that has been sparse with RBIs as of late. Not getting a run last night in a 12-0 loss against Orleans. The appeal down to first, and Mike Rabideau says King held up. Top third of the order here for Harwich has certainly converted when needed. A pair of doubles from King and Ethan Anderson out of Virginia, in addition to a double and a single from Kalen Culpepper, also making his return here tonight. And the Mariners have gladly welcomed them back, and it's turned into a 3-run lead. That one just misses low. It goes to 2-2 on the Athens, Georgia native. 16 hits over 9 games before leaving for Team USA. And just keeping up with Team USA on social media, certainly enjoying of a deep run in the international competition it had slated down in Cary, North Carolina. King was a major factor of that, starting infielder. 2-2 high, that time a slider that never broke. And King with a team best 5-hit outing. No one's come close to that this season. I know you were talking about it earlier, Devin, but just to marvel at that, at being able to get a hit essentially every time you come up to the plate.
Yeah.
Mariners have needed that notion of moving runners across. In particular, last night, we're on the verge of going no hit until a 1-out double from Devin Obie. Payoff is shot back up the middle, and it's for a base hit. Past Caulfield, the second baseman, and Seaver King now 2 for 3 here tonight, certainly making a lot of noise as the leadoff hitter.
He's a machine. I mean, he consistently produces. That's another shot. He's barreled up every ball he's made contact with here tonight in fair territory, and just adding to what's been a fantastic season here on the Cape. It's got to be a great year to be Seaver King. I mean, you transfer to one of the best schools in the country as far as baseball goes, and then you're able to come to the Cape. Probably will get an all-star bid depending how they look at the Team USA departure. And, of course, had this experience with Team USA. A lot of good for Seaver King.
And I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but Wake Forest has gained a lot of national attention in its deep run the College World Series, not with the hitting resources as much as it has, but the pitching analytics have been top-notch as well for Tom Walter over in Winston-Salem. But King is certainly going to have a great impact on that program as it looks to win a national championship. And Walter actually said to the media a couple days ago that with the College World Series about 2 to 3 weeks behind now, LSU winning a national championship, Wake Forest not getting to the College World Series final, he says he believes that he has everything he needs to win a national championship at Wake Forest, and it's certainly marketed well.
Much easier said than done, though.
It's really hard to win. It really is. And you consider that the talent individually that Wake Forest has been able to send to the MLB draft is certainly representative of what it can take to collectively put together another deep run in the NCAA tournament. We'll see what happens next year. Here's someone else who's begun to turn it up tonight. Ethan Anderson with that double back in the first, an RBI double, as he rockets it down the right field line, but it goes foul.
Cracked that one. That one could have been out if it was fair, and Anderson really starting to find his stride here in this ball game.
He was 1 for 4 in the Mariners' last win here at White House Field against Chatham. Harwich trying to get back in the win column here tonight. In his first 5 games, 4 hits, including a home run at Brewster. The Virginia Beach, Virginia native, a sophomore at 6'2", 205, as he protects here, and he grounds it over to Caulfield at second, the flip on to second for 1, and on to first. And it's in time as the bases go clear, and they're quickly 2 down here in the 5th.
Really nice turn that time. Caulfield not trying to cross himself up, fields it on the backhand, a smooth flip, and Murillo just scraping across that bag to get it on to first. Big 2 outs there for Wareham. They still trail at 3-0, but if they're able to get defense like that and maybe a few hits. Could be an interesting ball game down the stretch.
Well, these are two teams that have been quite sound in the infield, both top 4 in double plays turn. Wareham getting its 23rd that time. Really sound double play, as the Mariners got one just a couple of innings ago as well to help out Reed Easterly. That one back in the 4th, as Easterly has gone 5 scoreless thus far against a Wareham team that is very capable of putting together walks. 0-1 here to Kalen Culpepper out of Kansas State. Make it 1-1. Harwich getting the scoring going in the first inning. A pair of RBI doubles from Kalen Culpepper and Ethan Anderson, as the top third of the order has been humming here for 20th year head coach Steve Englert. Team in dire need of a win here tonight, as this one is a high bouncer over towards the left side. Cologne fields on a few hops, fires on a first, and the Missouri product gets it there in time. Well, the Mariners, they don't get any runs across despite a leadoff base hit from Seaver King. They score no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leave nobody on the base pass. Quick double play, keeping the Mariners out of a chance to score more here in the 5th. 3-0 lead for Harwich going into the 6th here at White House Field. We're stepping away here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. A new pitcher into the ball game here for the Harwich Mariners, leading the Wareham Gatemen 3-0. It's 3 runs on 9 hits for Harwich, no runs on 3 hits for Wareham. Harwich looking to get back in the win column tonight, and Reed Easterly, the left-handed starter out of Yale, his night concludes at 5 innings pitched with 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 1 strikeout. In the second, the first offering to Garen Caulfield on the inner half for ball number 1. We're underway here in the 6th inning on a gorgeous Friday night from White House Field in Harwich, Massachusetts. Zane Probst into the ball game here, certainly looking for a 1-2-3 inning to get started. The Alabama reliever has been excellent here in the bullpen for Steve Englert, the skipper for the Harwich Mariners. A roller over to the left side from Caulfield from shortstop as Culpepper makes it in time. And it's now 3 straight retired, as you certainly consider how well Easterly closed out, only allowing 2 base runners over the final 2 innings he pitched, and Probst is picking it up.
He's been fantastic. Reed Easterly has been the arm that Harwich needed to go out of the bullpen and to start with all the ins and outs. I mean, we've talked about all the arrivals and departures, and got to feel really good to finally get a guy that you can rely on once again. 7 shutout innings so far for Reed Easterly and Harwich.
Probst with 2 scoreless innings, allowed only 1 hit in that 5-0 win here at White House Field against the Orleans Firebirds. At Alabama this past season, a 4.08 ERA at 2-1 through 17 2/3. 22 strikeouts across that time span. Very efficient right-hander. As this one's a half swing, and it's from Tommy Splain, and it's a base hit. Culpepper just not able to get in time. It was probably the slowest moving ground ball all night long, and it's a one-out single here for Tommy Splain, the 3-hole hitter.
I bet you Daniel Rivera would say, I raise you my infield bunt that he had. But yeah, no, just unfortunately a victim of the circumstance that time. If you're Harwich, a half swing and Probst slip getting off the mound, I'm not sure he would have been able to make a play even if he got there. And yeah, Wareham needed one of those kind of attaboy hits, and there it is.
Probst in his third outing here. Swing and a miss here from Grant Hussey, the cleanup hitter out of West Virginia. 3-0 Harwich. 9 hits already for the Mariners after the lineup certainly went dry last night. And speaking of an opportunity here, it's Rivera from the lip of the outfield grass. He gets the play at first in time. Splain into second, and Rivera fielding it really well. He backed up as an excellent play was made from the Southern New Hampshire product. A great sense of awareness.
An excellent play, an exceptional play that time by Daniel Rivera. Full extension to knock that ball down, hit in the hole. That had a base hit written all over it, and Rivera takes it away. Got up quickly enough to beat him by a half step. Really nice play that time.
Now Bobby Bozer, the center fielder out of South Florida of the American Athletic Conference in here. In his last 10 games, Bozer really heating up. 6 hits and 9 walks after hitting .323 in 52 games for the South Florida Bulls down in Tampa. Had the second highest batting average for a team that went 21-35, or 39, I should say, in the American Athletic Conference. 21-39 overall, that is. Trying to drive in a runner here with 8 RBIs on the season. Splain, the catcher out of Arizona. Another great breaking ball that time, as it's 2 strikes here. Mariners defense has been sensational all night long. Gave everything it could for Reed Easterly of Yale. And that time, Daniel Rivera was prepared. But the cost of it, a runner in scoring position. Probst trying for his first strikeout here. The payoff pitch, the runner goes, it's foul back. Mariners pitching staff has been capable of throwing strikeouts as of late. Looking back to last night, got a good deal of strikeouts, but the lineup just had not shown up at the right time against an Orleans team that had certainly been on the downfall in the season series. Payoff pitch, skied over towards the left side. King, the third baseman, moving over towards the bullpen area, and he runs out of room. It's turning into a really good at-bat here from Bozer, who's looking for that first hit here today. Grounded out 6-4-3 to give Reed Easterly the minimum back in the 4th. Wareham still looking for that first run. Bozer, one of the key ingredients in order to get that run home in Splain. 3-2 again, just goes low. It's going to be ball 4 here. Just the third walk of the day here, surrendered by the Mariners pitching staff. Now there are runners on first and second. What's turning into a little bit of 2-out spark here for Wareham.
Yeah, now you got Sebastian Murillo coming in on the day. Already has a hit, a single, back in the second inning, and see if he can do any damage. Former Danbury Westerner in the NECBL.
Formerly played at Long Beach State. Hit .283 to help the Dirtbags get to 29 wins last season. Then transferred to Georgia, where he actually went 5 for 6 in one game with the Georgia Bulldogs, the SEC. Had a very solid first year, and now is hitting .364 with 3 RBIs here for the Wareham Gatemen at 10-15-2, last place in the Cape Cod West Division standings. He's quickly ahead in the count, 2-0 here. Singled to right field back in the second, and fouled out to the first baseman, and Mason Guerra getting the start off the hot corner here tonight. Grounded foul. Probst has a great sense of willingness, awareness of being able to get back in counts. Newest challenge for him here is to get out of a mini jam with Splain on second, Bozer on first. Working quickly here. Slider misses low. Very polished reliever. I mean, he was here in Harwich last season as well. He went 1-0, 3 starts in 9 games.
And an all-star.
And an all-star as well. Carried over to Alabama. Tough conference to play in. As he has a chance for his first strikeout here against Sebastian Murillo.
And Probst, all business out there. Doesn't waste any time or lose any sleep over the fact that something bad happened in the past.
This one is boomed high and out towards left center field. Obi and Jones running back, and Obi makes the catch on his way back to the warning track. As the Mariners give Probst a hand here with Wareham scoring no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leaving 2 on, and still trailing 3-0 going into the bottom half of the 6th. Can the Mariners add more padding to their lead here as they're looking to get back in the win column here tonight? You can find out on the other side as the Mariners bring it back in the bottom of the 6th here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Nothing says summer like Cape Cod baseball. Rooted in rich tradition and top collegiate talent, the Cape Cod Baseball League has been delighting fans and families for 100 years. Mark your calendars. The 2023 Cape Cod Baseball League All-Star Game takes place on July 22nd at 6 p.m. at White House Field in Harwich. Plan ahead and arrive at White House Field early to experience family-friendly festivities throughout the day.
Riley Eichhoff, the right-handed starter out of Coastal Carolina, still on the mound here, moving into the bottom of the 6th with the Harwich Mariners ahead of the Wareham Gatemen 3-0. It's 3 runs and 9 hits for Harwich, none on 4 hits here for Wareham. Eichhoff at 5'11", $185 out of Bristow, Virginia, closed the season strongly at Carolina, Coastal Carolina, with 18 combined strikeouts over his final 4 appearances. But right now, Wareham trying to challenge the right-handed starter. Ryan Smith, the manager, and Casey Scott, the pitching coach, trying to see if he can hold Harwich to 3 runs. Whether or not this will be his last outing, that is to be determined here. But close out the season at Coastal Carolina very strongly as Mason Guerra rips it deep into left field, going back at the wall. Sherrod, as he watches it go over the wall for a solo home run. Mason Guerra, the Beaverton, Oregon native, wastes no time here to give the Mariners an additional insurance run here in the 6th as the Mariners get another home run and they lead 4-0.
What a shot that was. Light tower power. He got all of it and was able to really just boom it way over that left field wall, give a nice souvenir to those young fans waiting out past the Duncan sponsor. And yeah, what a shot that was to ignite that Harwich offense. First hit in a couple games for Guerra. It's got to feel good.
The first home run for the Oregon State product, as a matter of fact, is Obi drives it high and deep out towards left field. All the way back, Sherrod back to the wall, and he makes the catch. Boy, and the Mariners have certainly unleashed a new level of hitting here tonight. Certainly not afraid to get out in those counts early.
Well, now you've had the power. We talked about how you have 7 home runs in the month of July. You've had the power, but now you get the average with Kalen Culpepper and Seaver King coming back. They're already up to double-digit hits, 10. It's almost like plugging those 2 guys back in has made an immediate difference. I mean, Casey Sauke's barreled one up. We saw the home run from Guerra. Up and down the scorebook, you can really look at everyone, and they're all pulling their weight.
Now Kennedy Jones in here, pinch hit for Lorenzo Carrier. Back in the 4th. Had a single to left field, but was thrown out at home. Mariners score their first run since the 4th inning, as they were able to get an RBI single to the pitcher in Riley Eichhoff. And the difference here for the Mariners, just being able to look for more balance out of the lineup, getting the ball in play was something they did last night. We're unable to really find much of a spark, particularly with 2 outs. Situational hitting has been a struggle at times this season, as Jones goes down, or is into a 1-2 count here. So 1 away, the Mariners ahead 4-0 now. Solo home run for Mason Guerra, his 5th RBI on the season. Meanwhile, for the Mariners, their 14th long ball of the year as he chops it over to Hussey at first. He steps on well in time. Now 2 away here. But the Mariners just seem to have something different clicking for them here tonight. Casey Sauke now coming back up. He had that double to center field back in the 4th. Seemed that hitting can be contagious at any time. And even though one game hasn't surpassed last night, still 5.5 innings through, the Mariners are really finding a spark, and it's starting with everyone in the lineup to do their share. So Casey Sauke, the Rochester, New York native, looking to go 2 for 3 here. He grounds it over towards the left side. Mariners aggressive on first pitch thus far as Colon zips it across, as the Mariners have their half retired in order. But after a solo home run, the Mariners now take a 4-0 lead into the 7th inning. 1 run on 1 hit for the first home run of the season for Mason Guerra, as the Mariners look to keep that lead where it is, with Zane Probst coming back out onto the mound for the final 3 frames. We'll be back in just a moment here from White House Field on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Mariners take a 4-0 lead into the final 3 innings here at White House Field. Mason Guerra hitting a solo bomb to get his first hit on the night and his first long ball on the season. Mariners brought forward to the plate, and that was their only hit in the bottom of the 6th. And back over to my broadcast partner, Devin Dobeck, Wyatt Copeland. Devin Dobeck here with you on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Devin, a lot to look forward to for the Mariners and Zane Probst, the reliever.
Absolutely, and now going up against the bottom third because he gets a foul tip strike to start things off here in the 7th. Picking up right where Reed Easterly left off after his 3-hit shutout performance through 5 innings. He's lined up for the win. Harwich trying to give it to him, and they desperately need it. 1-1 pitch from Probst is going to be checked his swing. No, it's going to be a strike. He went around, and it's 1-2. Finally got a chance to pull up the June and July splits, so we'll kind of spit some numbers at you just to tell you all you need to know about how Harwich has varied. As that one's lined and almost caught by Culpepper, but it gets into left center field for a base hit. And that's how things start in the 7th for the Gatemen.
All right, are we spitting the splits here?
Yeah, we can spit
Splitting the spits?
Yeah, so back in June, the Harwich pitching staff have a 3.91 earned run average, and opponents hitting .214 against them, both in the top 3 in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Since then, now moving on into July, opponents hitting .331 against Harwich pitchers and a 5.74 earned run average. Both those totals just about almost doubled. I mean, it's just been that kind of stretch for Harwich. They allowed just 64 earned runs in the whole month of June, 60 already here in July, not even halfway through.
Yeah, M's have certainly lost some polished starters.
As that one's popped up in the infield, coming in is Culpepper with a nice easy trot, puts it away for out number 1. And yeah, I mean, it's just been really tough. I mean, even the whip, 1.35 in June, 1.62 in July. So more and more batters getting on base. Harwich has also surrendered 9 home runs in July compared to just 5 in June.
Yeah, Mariners, they've lost some costly starting pitchers that certainly gave them a lot of longevity throughout their outings. You think Sam Armstrong, Andrew Armstrong immediately, but Tom Shimoleski really one of the few starting pitchers you have left, and you can also consider Joe Savino. Not sure how many more starts he has, but Mariners have been a bit reduced with how long they've been able to throw their starters out there, just still trying to find the fit with some guys.
This one's going to be flared into left field for a base hit. Single for J.C. Cologne puts runners on first and second for the leadoff man in Nick McLean.
And Wareham all of a sudden finally getting the bats going. A little bit quiet through the first 6 innings with just 4 hits. No multi-hit innings either. So the walks starting to plague Reed Easterly a little bit, but not too much to the point where he's able to leave the bases stranded. And Zane Probst actually stranded 2 in the 6th, but another challenge for him here as R.J. Thomas, the pitching coach, steps out.
And yeah, they'll talk things over. No action for Harwich in the pen. And you got to think probably just calming down Zane, but a guy who's able to pitch through all kinds of adversity shouldn't be much of a problem. Take a quick minute here, look around the Cape Cod Baseball League scoreboard. Out at McKeon Park in Hyannis, Harbor Hawks leading the Anglers 4-2. Cotuit's on top of Falmouth 9-2 out at Gov Fuller Field. Orleans leads Bourne 2-1. And of course, the Brewster YD game was rescheduled. So not sure exactly when that will be made up, but a bit of a force per se. As are we going to get a pinch runner here? We are. So coming out of the ball game is going to be Renee Lastix.
It looks like it's going to be Dorian Gonzalez doing the pinch running here. Brings a compact sense of speed on the base pass, similar to even what you see out of Daniel Rivera. Well, this is an interesting move here. The Mariners don't have the tying run at the plate against them, but the Wareham Gatemen, they need runs fast. A good move by Ryan Smith.
We'll see if it pays off here, as it'll now be Nick McLean digging in. He's 0 for 3 with a pair of groundouts and a strikeout. Watches strike 1 zipped in there by Probst. And so the count's 0-1. Harwich with 2 in the first, 1 in the fourth, and 1 in the sixth. They lead at 4-0, doubling the Wareham hit totals 10-5. 0-1 is outside, and it's going to be 1-1 now. Probst trying not to fall behind in counts. He pitches so well when he's in the driver's seat, but once he falls behind, struggles to paint the corners, and that's when trouble starts. 1-1 is going to be grounded up the middle for a base hit. Rounding third and heading home is Gonzalez. Obi will take the bid home and the throw off line. You able to knock it down so the rest of the runners don't advance. But Wareham on the board after their third single of the inning. It's 1-0.
Kind of least you can do if you're you, just bring the appropriate play that time in order to prevent 2 runners from being in scoring position. A nice throw that time from Obi, as it really didn't trail far into center field, but for Probst just left the fastball a little bit high. And as you mentioned, just losing a little bit of command that time.
So it'll be Garen Caulfield's turn. He's also 0 for 3, flew out to right, lined out to left. Also has grounded out to the shortstop. Nice block that time by Andrew Yu. And its own error, it's 1-0. Tommy Splains on deck. Wareham has the tying run up to bat, as time granted here. 3 hits in the inning, just 1 away here, and runners on first and second in the top of the 7th. Beautiful skies now here in Harwich. 1-0 is going to be popped up, foul territory, but it escapes out of play. And so the count even up at 1.
Important time here for Caulfield to find some rhythm here. 2 on here. You have yet to get a hit here today against Probst, who just gave up a single with only 1 out to center fields. Not the biggest guy in your lineup, capable of getting some contact hits.
As this one's going to be lined over to Culpepper, a leaping grab on to second in time. Double him up, Kalen Culpepper, a leaping grab, and then fires it over to second to escape the jam for Zane Probst. He does surrender the first run for Wareham of the ball game, but the Mariners still on top 4-1. Heading into the bottom of the 7th, time to stretch here from the house. We'll be back in a flash on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We welcome you back into White House Field. Devin Dobeck joined by Wyatt Kopelman up here in Al Graber press box in Harwich. Some nice cotton candy skies going out in left field as call to the bullpen. Riley Eichhoff's night is over, and he was fantastic. 6 innings pitched, gives up 6 hits, 4 earned runs, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. And when you think about how he surrendered 2 runs in the home half of the first, really settled down and kept his team in it to give them a chance to win. But now the baton will be handed to Chase Chapman, lefty, 5'11", 175 out of Cape Coral, Florida. Attends St. Thomas down in Florida, making his debut for the Gatemen. See what he's capable of here, as he's already ahead of Andrew Yu, 0-1. Yu on the day, struck out swinging, and also grounded out to second. Here comes the 0-1 from Chapman. And misses down low for a ball. Chapman held a 6.26 earned run average with a 3-4 record in 11 appearances at St. Thomas University in Miami Gardens. He transferred from Florida Southwestern after the 2022 season to play at a third different school. Pitched in 5 games for FGCU and allowed 3 runs in 2021. It's a ball and 2 strikes now to Andrew Yu. Daniel Rivera on deck. Mariners' lead was cut to 3 in the top half of the 7th. Here comes the 1-2 offering now from Chapman. Taking his time as he goes into his windup, the pitch. Breaking ball just missed outside. Chapman thought he had strike 3. And instead, count knotted up at 2-2. pitch is going to be grounded softly over to the third baseman, Cologne. He bobbles it over to first and not in time. Wow, Mike Rabideau had no idea if he was out or safe. Finally made a decision, and we'll see how it's scored. Should be an error, and it will be against J.C. Cologne, and that's how the 7th starts with Andrew Yu over at first base. Talked a little bit about the splits in the pitching department, but now the hitting department for Harwich. Hit 245 in the month of June, hitting just 210 in July. On-base percentage about a 50-point margin, 360 versus 310. Harwich has also punched out 91 times in July across just 11 games. It's going to be 1-0 now to Rivera. They're 3-8 in the month of July. Just 76 hits in those 11 games. So just about less than 7 a game. So here comes the 1-0. In there for a strike, 1-1. The home runs are the number that really jump out at you, 7 in July. 1 ball, 1 strike to Rivera, who's had a pair of singles today. He's also stolen a base and been picked off over at first. Grounds this one off the pitcher's leg over to Cologne. Cologne will go to second and take the force out. What a wacky play there. That'll be a 1-5-4 putout. And a fielder's choice granted to Rivera. That could have been a double play ball had it not gone off Chase Chapman. So Andrew Yu's taken off the base pass, and Daniel Rivera will step on. 3rd time he's been on base tonight. First time without a hit. Who knows, maybe would have got through and been his 3rd hit of the ball game. He's had a great night at the plate. That brings up Seaver King, who was 2 for 3. Doubled, came around a score in the 1st. Lined out to center field in the 2nd, and singled back in the 5th. Comes the first pitch from Chapman. And it's going to be grounded over to the third baseman, Cologne, over to second for 1, on to first in time. It's a 5-4-3 around the horn double play to end the 7th inning. So the Mariners can't capitalize on the first error of the ball game, and they go quietly here in the 7th. Heading now to the 8th frame, 4-1 Mariners. We'll be right back on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We welcome you back into the 8th inning. Aiden Moza towing the rubber for the Harwich Mariners. Zane Probst's night is over. So he goes 2 complete innings, 4 hits, an earned run, a walk, and no strikeouts. Kept that door relatively shut. Gave up the 1 run, his first of the season, but shouldn't be much of a problem as Harwich goes to another one of their fantastic relievers in Aiden Moza, and what a treat he's been to watch. 0-1, the count now to Tommy Splain, the catcher for the Gatemen.
Also of Alabama as well. He's been magnificent as of late. Second amongst Harwich relievers in strikeouts, 16 across his first 3 innings.
Not a bad 1-2 punch for the Mariners. Moza comes in with a 1-1 record, 3.86 earned run average. 4th appearance, does have a save, 11 2/3, 16 strikeouts, just 2 walks. Punch out is his best friend as counts even up at 2-2. Moza, in his most recent outing, got a little knocked around, was credited with the loss after going 3 2/3, 62 pitches, 4 hits, 5 earned runs, and 4 strikeouts, 2 walks. As that one's laced in the gap in left field. Knocked down by Kennedy Jones. There's going to be a close play at second base. The throw, not going to be on line, and it's going to be a double for Tommy Splain here to start the 8th. That was in the loss to Brewster, though, that Moza outing. 12-6 loss just a couple weeks ago. Maybe last week, rather.
Yeah, he has the fastball, curveball, and slider. We'll see how he can command that on particularly the outer corners to the right-handed hitters. On the right-handed hitters, you want him to go low and away, but for a left-handed hitter like this, you want to try maybe go inside with that.
So now it'll be Grant Hussey's turn. Grant on the day 1 for 3 with a single. He's also flied out to center and grounded out to second. First pitch from Moza is going to miss up high for a ball 1-0. So the Gatemen not dead yet. They still have 6 outs to work with to put up those 3 runs or more. Moza comes set at the waist, checks the runner, and fires home. This one's going to be popped foul back out towards the bathroom area, and it's 1-1.
Just a tough way to enter the ball game as well. You're coming off of that loss you first earned at Brewster, and then to be able to have to work out of the stretch right away is tough, facing the middle of the order here. But only 1 hit among the middle 3 of the order here today.
Next pitch misses outside. It's 2-1. On deck, Bobby Bozer. Gatemen trying to threaten for some offense here in the 8th. Harwich searching for their first win in 4 games now. 2 balls, 2 strikes as Moza's able to get a swing and a miss. Sebastian Murillo will be up after Bozer. Heart of the order for the Gatemen. The pitch. 2-2's cut on a miss. Down he goes. Aiden Moza picks up yet another strikeout. That's been his MO all season long. And now 1 away with a runner on second.
These are the strikeouts you need. You can only force so many groundouts and flyouts to a team like Wareham that hasn't strike out an awful amount, but for the Mariners, looking to get more strikeouts out of the relievers, and Aiden Moza is finding his way here.
Bobby Bozer on the day's walked twice and grounded into a double play. Still looking for his first hit. But chance to do damage here with a runner in scoring position. It's 1-0 count as that one misses upstairs. Next pitch is going to be in there for a strike to make it 1-1. Bozer out of South Florida, a native of Wesley Chapel, Florida, hitting 191 on the season for the Gatemen. Pair of home runs, though, and 8 RBI. 1-1, misses outside, 2-1. Went 1 for 2 with a pair of walks in the 18-0 loss to Katuitt. Hit .323 in his last 10 games at South Florida. Here comes the 2-1. Misses up high, 3-1. So now Moza way behind in the count, going to have to make something work here. First base is open, but don't want to bring the tying run up to the plate, especially in Murillo. 3-1. Thought about it, lays off, and it will be a 5-pitch walk issued. Down to first goes Bobby Bozer, and now the tying run coming up in Murillo.
And this is where Zane Probst had to try and pitch to contact as well. Did so to get out of that 6th inning. Actually didn't have a strikeout in his latest relief outing on the season, but looks like Andrew Yu and RJ Thomas are going to go talk to Moses, see what he can do to change his mechanics here, because in order to pitch to ground ball contact, you're going to have to try and get a slider or that curveball low as well. We'll see what he can do.
R.J. Thomas, yeah, going to talk things over, and this has been your best 1-2 punch out of the bullpen ever since they arrived, and Moza now running into some turbulence. We'll see what the approach is. No one warming up for Harwich, riding with Moza. But with the tying run coming up, got to be careful, and Murillo put one out to the warning track in his last at-bat, a fly out to center. Really great catch by Devin Obie. But yeah, you got to find a way to retire this guy quietly. He's also had a single tonight and popped out to first. 1 away here and 2 runners on. Mariners 4 runs on 10 hits with no errors, 1 run on 8 hits with an error for the Gatemen. The pitch in there for a strike. It's 0-1. Nice breaking ball that time from Moza. He comes set at the waist once more. And the pitch. Cut on a miss, 0-2. So now Moza's starting to hit his spots. Not sure what R.J. Thomas said, or maybe a magic potion, but Moza seems to completely have flipped the script here on these last 2 pitches, finding his control once more. The 0-2. Thought about it. Did he go? Mike Rabideau says no, he did not, and so it'll be 1-2.
And it's a good pitch still to offer with 2 strikes. Moza in a righty-righty battle, trying to go with a high fastball that time.
Moza examining the runners, and now the 1-2. Breaking ball misses up high. Scary pitch as that one was hung a little bit, but way out of the strike zone. Murillo didn't even want to bid it. So 2-2 is the count. And the pitch from Moza. Cut on a miss. He blows it right by him. Power on power, and Moza wins that one. Picks up his 2nd strikeout of the inning, both by way of swinging. And now there's 2 down with 2 away for Dorian Gonzalez.
And that might be the best strikeout that Moza's got this season. Has a chance to strike out the side as well. As I said, that fastball can become a great chase pitch here for Moza, facing a left-hander here.
Gonzalez on the day has not had an at-bat. Came in a pinch run for Rene Lastix and scored a run while pinch hitting. Count is going to be 1-0 now. Gonzalez this season for the Gatemen out of Miami, hitting 196, now appearing in his 20th game. 2 balls and no strikes now from Moza. On deck is Grant Sherrod, and I'm not sure he's a guy who you want to face. He's had a great night tonight, on base twice. Moza comes set. And the pitch. This is down low, 3-0. It's now just like that. A pitch away from walking the bases full. Scary territory for Moza. Doesn't want to leave one too far over the plate either. Gonzalez, not a huge power threat, but can drive the ball in the gap. 3-0. Green light, and he swings and misses. Big hack that time from Gonzalez, and so now he'll have to change his approach a little bit. Still ahead in the count, 3-1. And here's the pitch from Moza. And it's going to be fouled back to make it 3-2. Count has worked full. Moza really trying to battle here, and you can tell he's giving it everything he's got. Trying to piece together a 6-out save here, but it's not going to be easy. 2 on, 2 away, and a full count. Runners will be going on the pitch. Carousel's moving, as they say. And here's the 3-2. Swing and a miss. Moza strikes out the side, and not one bigger than that. Strands 2 on, and the Mariners take a 4-1 lead into the home half of the 8th. Looking for some insurance, find out on the other side as we step aside here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Bottom of the 8th, it'll be Anderson, Culpepper, and Guerra due up for the M's. They lead it 4-1 in what could be their last at bat of the ball game. Fingers crossed, because they desperately need it. Chase Chapman back to the hill. First pitch. Anderson 1 for 3 on the day, doubled, came around to score in the first. He also struck out looking in the third and grounded into a double play in the 5th. 1-0. Breaking ball is zipped in there for a strike. It's 1-1. Mariners would love to chase in a few more runs before going back to likely Moza in the 9th inning. As this one's going to be lifted out into the gap in center field. Ranging over to his left, though, is Bozer. And he's able to come down with it at the waist. A running catch. Bit of a scary snag there, but it will be out number 1.
Not the graceful snag that time. I think he may have lost it in the light for what it seemed to be with floodlights fully on here. But Kalen Culpepper, a chance to extend his great night, and he has made his announcement felt here, his arrival, after it was known that he would actually be coming back here to the Mariners from Team USA.
Culpepper has doubled, singled, and grounded out to third. He's also swiped a base. First pitch to him is going to miss outside for a ball, 1-0. On deck is Guerra. Heart of the order for Harwich, 1-0. In there for a strike to make it 1-1, even up the count. Culpepper out of Kansas State has been playing shortstop for the Mariners since he arrived there. At least some part of the middle infield. Seen him at third a couple times. He's just got a rocket of an arm, and it's so accurate. 99 times out of 100, as that one gets away from the catcher in Splain. And so it'll be a 2-1 count now.
Chapman really starting to settle in as well. He had a pretty high ERA at St. Thomas University down in Miami Gardens, Florida, and he really needs a convincing start here just to be able to say that you can at least have some continuity going into the next start you have. And, you know, for him, it's just been a really turbulent collegiate career. He's playing at his 3rd different school now, and he's really looking just for a 1-2-3 inning here, and albeit his team is down by 3.
3-1 is going to be fouled off. Big swing that time from Culpepper, and count has worked full. Culpepper has been the number 3 hitter for Harwich as far as order-wise for the majority of the season until his departure. Now returns right back into that spot, and he's just been everything you could have imagined. Payoff pitch. Grounded softly over to the third baseman, Colon, on the run. Tough play, and it's there in time to retire Culpepper. 2 up, 2 down here in the 8th.
Mariners only with 1 hit in the 6th inning, a solo home run, and give them a little bit of insurance here, but against a really struggling Wareham team, you want to see what else you can draw out of your lineup. You've had so much more continuity from last night, and right now you have a little bit of chance still left in this ball game. 1 out left before you can officially close the books on this one, but it's just a chance for guys to revive themselves individually aside from what they've been able to provide for each other in the lineup.
First pitch to Guerra in there for a strike on the outside corner. 0-1. Devin Obie on deck. Harwich leading 4-1, fueled by 10 hits. Here comes the 0-1 from Chapman. And it's foul tipped into the mitt for strike 2. Chapman does not have a strikeout today, but he's faced the minimum 5 up, 5 down. Although, Andrew, you reached on an error. He was retired on a fielder's choice, and then a double play off the bat of Seaver King allowed the minimum to remain intact. It's going to be a 1-2 count now. Guerra had a home run in his last at bat back in the 6th inning, a solo blast out to deep left field. Here comes the 1-2. Misses way up, and it's 2-2. Guerra's also struck out looking and grounded out to shortstop. Guerra in that right-hand side, waiting in the favorable lefty-on-righty matchup for himself. 2-2. Misses down in the dirt, 3-2. And so now Guerra can't be too selective, but at multiple opportunities to get on base in this next pitch. We'll see what Chapman elects to go with, trying to face the minimum 6 up, 6 down. Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. Down goes Guerra. Nasty off-speed pitch on the outer part of the zone, and that will be strike 3. First strikeout of the night for Chapman, as we head now to the 9th inning. It's winning time here in Harwich. We'll be back on the other side. 4-1 Mariners on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Live from White House Field in Harwich, Massachusetts, the Harwich Mariners look to keep it rolling in the... Well, it took a while to get here, but the power's back on, the burgers are on the grill, and the fans have filed in. We're ready to play baseball here on this lovely Tuesday evening. Pitch the good one, and that is going back. That's a hard hit ball. Back it goes toward the fence. Gone! The Harwich Mariners walk it on.
Back here for the 9th inning of action. And it will be Grant Sherrod, J.C. Cologne, and Nick McLean, the last lives for the Wareham Gatemen. Aiden Moses back out there looking to earn what would go on to be a 6-out save. Reed Easterly currently lined up for the win. The Mariners looking to snap a 3-game slide. Here comes the first pitch. This is up high, 1-0. Sherrod on the day has walked, singled, and popped out to the shortstop in Kalen Culpepper. 1-0. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Big pitch that time from Moza. 8:36 Eastern time here. Just about 2 hours since first pitch, as that one's cut on and missed to make it a 1-2 count. A game that has really moved right along despite already 18 hits between the two clubs. Moza already 3 strikeouts. Every out he's recorded has been a K. 1-2. Just missed. It must have been a little out and away. Nice pitch that time from Moza nonetheless, and it's 2-2. 2-2 pitch, misses up high, 3-2, and Moza's already given up a walk, trying not to do that again. Stranded a pair on in the 8th. Trying to avoid that here in the 9th. Much more pressure, especially with the weight of this losing streak bearing on you. Payoff. Swing and a miss. Aiden Moza, 4 strikeouts already through just an inning and a third. He's been sensational. Ball's whipped around the horn in Harwich. Now 2 outs away from a victory.
3 straight strikeouts from Moza. Struck out the side in the 8th. The high fastball has really been working well for him. Just a polished reliever here for the Mariners this season.
So now it'll be J.C. Cologne. He's 1 for 3, grounded into a fielder's choice, grounded out to third, and has singled here tonight. First pitch from Moza. Swing and a miss, and yeah, he's really pumping it in there. It's 0-1. Moza just shows right up back in that windup and wastes no time in between pitches. Here comes the 0-1 offering. Misses up and in, and it's 1-1.
His fastball is capable of going well near 100. It's gone to about 96, 97 on multiple instances this season.
It'll be a 1-2 count now. J.C. Cologne trying to hang in there, keep his team alive, or else they'll slide into a 5-game losing streak. Both these teams desperately need this W, but Harwich trying to hang on and do it in front of the home crowd here tonight. A great crowd, by the way. Not sure exactly the quantity. Wyatt, you were just off in your prediction last night. You said 1,500. I believe it was just shy of 14. Not a bad guesstimate from up here in the booth. Aiden Moza's taking a 5 to tie his shoe out there on the hill. Finally, he's back up and running. Trying to wrap this thing up and put a bow on it. 1-2. upstairs for a ball, 2-2. Count is evened up now to Cologne.
Cologne, a relative pull hitter, but the middle infield is wide open here against Moza.
2-2. Swing and a miss. You guessed it. Another strikeout, Aiden Moza. That's his 5th here in the outing. He continues to just deal. And there's now 2 away, 1 out away for the Mariners of picking up win number 14.
Saw Probst pitching more to contact, another Alabama reliever here for Harwich. This time, Moza looking to amplify his outing with the strikeouts, and he's certainly been accomplishing of that.
First pitch in there, right down Broadway for a strike to Nick McLean. He's 1 for 4, singled, also has struck out swinging. Grounded out to shortstop and grounded out to the pitcher. Next pitch misses outside. It's 1-1. Garen Caulfield on deck. 1-1. Misses up high, 2-1. Wareham needs to find a little magic here late in the ball game. They're 1 out away from being sent packing back with a 5-game losing streak. 2-1 is going to be laced out into center field. Going back is Obi. He's under it and makes the catch. The Mariners win this one in front of the home crowd. 4-1 your final right here. Aiden Moza picks up a 6-out save. The win goes to Reed Easterly. We'll be right back to break it all down on the other side as Glory Days takes us out here. 4-1 your final. Don't go away. We'll step aside and be right back for the Harwich Mariners postgame show on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.
Nothing. Nothing says summer like Cape Cod baseball. Rooted in rich tradition and top collegiate talent, the Cape Cod Baseball League has been delighting fans and families for 100 years. Mark your calendars. The 2023 Cape Cod Baseball League All-Star Game takes place on July 22nd at 6 p.m. at White House Field in Harwich. Plan ahead and arrive at White House Field early to experience family-friendly festivities throughout the day.
We welcome you into the Harwich Mariners postgame show. Devin Dobeck joined by my friend and colleague Wyatt Kopelman here in Al Graber Press Box following a 4-1 Harwich Mariner victory over the Wareham Gatemen. A lot of positives you can finally take away from a Harwich Mariners game, Wyatt. Let's start with the the re-arrivals rather, of Kalen Culpepper and Seaver King making an immediate impact.
Yeah, they had impacts, and they were also welcomed by Ethan Anderson as well. A lot of balance throughout the lineup here today. King getting you that much-needed double to start off the game, and then you consider how Caden Culpepper was able to cater to that as well. Just a lot of opportunities for the line to keep moving for the Mariners. Very unlikely from what happened last night, but the Mariners were able to turn the page here tonight.
And a great performance from the pitching staff up and down the board. 5 complete innings for Reed Easterly. Gave up 3 hits, no earned runs. He was sensational. Picks up his 2nd win in as many games in a Harwich Mariners uniform.
And he retired this Wareham lineup, which was due for some hits here tonight after losing 18-0 to Katuitt on the road. The best team, the Cape Cod Baseball League, reached 20 wins, and earningly so. But tonight, Easterly decided to change the script. He was able to retire Wareham in order twice, and you consider how that fortunes going forward, where you consider this not being a fortuitous start, but more than that, and that'll certainly set him up for another start here in this rotation. That's still fine in experiments.
Mason Guerra tallying his first home run of the season at blast out to left field. That gave the Mariners a 4-0 lead at the time before Wareham was able to put on the board and make it a 4-1 ball game. But, yeah, a great win. The save goes to Aiden Moza. 5 strikeouts in 2 innings for him. Zane Probst, the other pitcher for the Mariners. He went 2 complete, 4 hits, an earned run, no strikeouts. Not his best, but he was able to get the job done, giving up just that 1 run.
Preserving leads was crucial here, and for Moza, you maybe think that it might have been up to Zane Probst to pitch the final 4 innings of the ball game after Reed Easterly gave you a strong 5-inning start. But, of course, you still get a 1 earned run out of Probst, and that was going to be crucial here to see how Moza could follow through and maybe getting that scoreless outing. He was able to convert, and the Mariners go home with a much-needed victory.
Harwich set to take on the Brewster Whitecaps tomorrow at Stony Brook Field. That's a 5 p.m. start. Be with us on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. But once again, just running through the box score, Reed Easterly picks up the win. He's 2-0 this season. Reed Eichhoff credited with the loss. Aiden Moza earns his 2nd save of the season. Mariners 4 runs on 10 hits with no errors. Wareham 1 run on 8 hits with 1 error. And Wyatt, finally some momentum for the Mariners. How do they continue to carry it into Brewster?
You mentioned it, the 10 hits. The Mariners certainly knew they needed that balance throughout the lineup, but of course it comes more than just having 2 hits from Kalen Culpepper and Seaver King. I mean, as great as their real rivals were, how rejuvenating it was to have some powerful bats in the lineup besides a solo bomb for Mason Guerra. Mariners know that they need those multi-hit games. It's not just going to be 1. Ethan Anderson also getting on the board with a hit. Casey Sauke had a base knock as well. It's going to be paramount for the Mariners moving forward just to have those 1 and 2 out hits to put a lot of stress on relievers going forward.
Once again, the final score 4-1 in favor of the Mariners. They snap a 3-game losing streak. Wareham makes their losing streak 5 games. Harwich now 14-15 in the East Division standings. They still sit in 2nd place by points. But that just about wraps us up. So on behalf of our entire media team, our producer, Sean Sears, my partner, Wyatt Copeland, and myself, Devin Dobek, thank you so much for joining us on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. And always remember to live the dream. We'll see you next time.